I'm 18 years old, going to be a freshman in college this September. This past July, my friend Miranda held a pool party in her backyard as a sort of graduation party, minus any of her family being around because her parents were away. She often has the house to herself, so her parents' house is the go-to spot for a lot of hangouts. She invited like 100 people from our grade. There had to be upwards of 150 people there at the night's peak. I was one of the first to show up with my friend Jonah, because we're close with Miranda, so we wanted to help out a little bit. By the time people started showing up, everyone congregated slowly from the kitchen and living room to outside in the backyard by the pool. Some people brought their bathing suits and jumped into the pool. Others just jumped in their underwear. And then of course most others just stood around the pool. She has a huge backyard. At a certain point, so many people were at the party that it was clear as day people were bringing friends from other schools because we didn't know everyone there, and Miranda was getting mad because she made it clear she didn't want randoms. In fact, unfamiliar people seemed to be just barging through the gate, not even accompanied with people from our school or grade. There wasn't much we could do though. The party was already too crazy to easily control. Miranda did throw in our class group chat not to bring any more randoms or they'd be asked to leave. The problem seemed to slow down after that. At around 1 a.m., police came to the house and had to shut down the party due to multiple complaints from neighbors. So the music was turned off, and 99% of the guests were asked to leave. Mostly everyone cleared out except a few close friends, including some of Miranda's girlfriends, Jonah and I, and a few other guy friends. We helped do some cleaning, like picking up all the empty cans and bottles. Eventually, it was just 4 of us left there. I'm talking at like 3 a.m., if not later. Since it was hot outside, we migrated to the inside of the house in the air conditioning, where we were just chilling in the living room continuing to drink. Then we all heard a distinct crack from upstairs, and we went silent. Miranda was the first to ask what was that, as we all looked at each other with these wide-eyed, half-laughing, half-freaked-out faces. Jonah and I laughed, teasing Miranda that someone was upstairs in her room, and she begged us to stop and check it out. So we did. We went upstairs to Miranda's room. It was clear. We then went to the guest room that used to be her older brother's room, and we found one of our friends, Steve, passed out in the bed. We went downstairs to tell her that Steve was upstairs and knocked out. I guess that gave her a sigh of relief. Looking back, that didn't much explain a sound coming from upstairs if he was knocked out in bed though. But we weren't exactly the most coherent at that moment. Eventually, Miranda and her friend Mel went to sleep in her room. Jonah fell asleep on the couch. I went to her parents' bed. None of us were okay to drive anywhere. I can't remember how much time passed before I remember one of the girls screaming in the next room over, and then both of them. It was a heart-dropping kind of moment, but I didn't know if they were messing around with each other at first or not. But I realized pretty quickly the screams were way too real. I burst out of the bed and went to Miranda's room and opened the door. The lights were out. I could barely see anything, except for the 2 girls huddled up hugging each other in the corner of the room, basically curled up on the floor. I saw what they were screaming at. There was a tall person in the opposite corner of the room, on the other side of the bed from them. I saw him looking at me in the doorway. I yelled at the girls to run, and they did. There was so much yelling that even Steve woke up and came out. As the girls ran downstairs screaming that the man was touching their feet, we followed. But looking back, with 3 guys there, we regrettably didn't try to overpower that one man. We all left the house, and one of us called the police, waiting by the neighbor's house with the neighbors, possibly the same ones who called the cops on the party. We didn't see the man leave the front door ever, and after police searched the house and couldn't find him, that meant he left through the back door. None of us recognized who that man was. It was probably an older man who knew Miranda somehow that snuck into the house during the commotion of the party and thought Miranda would be alone after the party. It's some sick, scary stuff. Whether we could have overpowered him or not, we'll never know, because we don't know if he was armed.